Welcome back to the Chicago Tomahawk. I'm Mike, and I got my line mate Matt with me. Today, we're going to go over some Blackhawks news. Got some really good Blackhawks news this week, and we're going to go over the Atlantic Division. So we are getting close to puck drop. We're a couple weeks away. Camps are full on. There's scrimmages. I believe there is a preseason game today. Utah.
Yep.
And I'm not sure who else. And the Blues. Okay. I think Cardoni was the first one to get a goal in the preseason. So there is some hockey being played, and we're really excited about it. So the first things first, Nick Foligno was named the 35th captain of the Chicago Blackhawks. This is something that me and Matt, we've talked about this extensively on how
every 2 weeks, I feel like,
that at least I did. I felt the Blackhawks needed a heartbeat. They needed a face of the organization, someone to represent the team when they're on the ice. I don't think having multiple alternates does it. I think having one person with the C who represents us is really big. I called for about halfway through the season last year. I called for Nick Foligno to be the captain, and we had gone on and on and on about this man, and I didn't waver. And I honestly, dude, I think that the Blackhawks listen, man. I think that they listen to our podcast. I might not admit it because it's either that or we call things on a pretty consistent basis. And I called it. And he's the captain, man. This is so great. I think that he leads from the front. He treats guys. They say that he treats guys with respect. He's a big locker room guy. Obviously, he's someone who sticks up for his guys on the ice. And there's a lot of things that we don't get to see that he does, that everybody loves. And it was pretty unanimous between everybody that really wanted to. I thought that Seth Jones might have an issue with it, but he was his captain in Columbus. So I don't think that it was too hard for him to swallow. So what do you think, Matt?
I'm happy for the guy. I know he's a good leader. It's his second team he's captain, which says a lot. I personally would win a different route. I probably would have had 3 A's until, Connor was ready. But that's the way they want to do it. I respect it. Nothing against Nick Foligno. I absolutely deserves it. Like you said, the players want it, and it's kind of like. That was a crazy day. I feel like 3 captains were named that day. Victor Hedman was named in Tampa.
Another good choice.
Nick Foligno with us. Yeah. And then who was the other one?
Oh, it was Radko Gudas in Anaheim.
Gudas. Yeah. Gudas. And they were saying the same thing. The guy was like an immediate impact player in the locker room. And it really, they really rallied around him and stuff. And I mean, he's got an assistant captain too, and that beard. Alone that beard is an assistant captain. It's beautiful. But yeah, Foligno. You could tell he's a team first guy. It was cool that his kids were, they introduced the jersey with the C on. That was pretty good by the Hawks. I like that, and he said some important things like his kids were his number one family, but the Hawks are his number 2, and. You could tell, man, he's just born to be a leader. So, yeah, I'm happy. It's going to be cool. I kind of wish they'd kind of give Bedard a little bit of a role, as an A. But, they want him to focus on hockey right now, which isn't a bad thing.
Yeah, it's not. And to be honest with you, I heard that what Foligno was doing last year in calling Bedard and in communicating with him quite often, Bedard was doing that this year with our latest first round draft pick, Artem. I got to learn how to say this guy's last name, Leshinov. Yeah. And so it seems like Bedard is taking that, learning from Foligno and applying it to his own leadership style. So even though that he doesn't have a letter, I don't have a problem with it yet. Let's let this kid play hockey. Let's let him get another year under his belt before we start slapping letters on him. Yeah. I just think that he's doing a good job as he is. He's starting to figure out what it is to be a professional in the league, and Foligno is really, his influence is really spreading, man. And it's great that they have him to mentor these younger guys. And maybe even Reichel too later on down the road. He's had some bumps, he's had some good times too. He's learning, he's developing, and there's going to be a lot of kids, a lot of young guys on the squad that are coming up together, and they're all going to rally around each other. So I'm really happy about that, man.
Yeah, man, he's like the Marty Lapointe
Yeah.
of the Taves era. Like he's gonna be like that with Bedard, Frank Nazar, all these youngsters. So, and Lapointe only got to see just when a coin was named. He was out for the season, but
Right.
a lot of people say this was our real captain. Nothing against a coin, but this guy was the voice in the locker room. He was the heart and soul, and it was pretty cool back in the day when they gave him that honor. And Taves, till this day, would probably say Marty Lapointe was a huge part of me becoming the leader I was, and one of the best captains in NHL history. So hopefully it works out for Connor Bedard when he gets his C from Foligno, like a passing of the torch type of thing.
Yeah, and there's a lot that goes into it, man. And Foligno, he's got 2 more seasons on his contract this year and next year. I don't think that he's going to be a dealt at the trade deadline type of a guy. I think that he's here to. His main purpose really is to lead this team and provide leadership. I don't think it's to put tons of points on the board, or to be even a top 6 player. I think that his role is to essentially show Bedard how to be a captain in the NHL and how to do it the right way. And without having Taves, man, I think that Foligno is. We could have gotten a poor man Taves in somebody else, and it wouldn't have been very good. But I think Foligno doing it's like, okay, this is a good direction. It's impossible to replace Taves. He wore the C for so long.
He knows it.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's hard to put on somebody else, but putting it on him, I think that it takes away from that, Taves isn't the captain anymore type of a thing. And I think it's a really great choice. So moving on, Seth Jones and Connor Murphy named assistants. Matt, I know that this is a sore spot for you, man. Connor Murphy has a letter. He's had a letter for a long time. He is a great locker room guy, as has been said many times. I know how you feel about that, but
Where's that stat?
he does have a role on the team. And if that role on the team, if guys on the squad look up to him, I think that he should be recognized for that. And kudos to him, not to take that away from him, but do you see a possibility of Connor Murphy being moved at the deadline?
I just don't see the value in him. I don't know what team, like, what am I getting out of this guy? I don't think we've seen full potential Connor Murphy, like what he's supposed to do. Because when we traded Jarmelson for him, this guy was supposed to be like the young, like, block shot type of defenseman, stay at home. And he's been on really bad teams. So I don't think we've seen what he's supposed to be. Maybe when the team's better, we'll see, but I don't know, man. I don't see any team needing a guy that, like, even our team, we could probably have a younger guy do better than him. And it sounds mean, but it's the NHL. I think, like I said, being a good locker room guy is probably a must for getting into the NHL. And all these kids obviously have that because they're in the NHL. They've been in locker rooms. They've probably been voices of their, previous teams. They were leaders and stuff. So if you're in the NHL, like, this is a Mick Kernland, you better be damn good in that locker room because that's like the minimal thing you need. I don't know. There was rumors last year, like the Maple Leafs wanted him, and I'm just thinking, I'm like, what? Why? Like, what does he bring? Like I said, it kind of sounds mean, but I just don't know what the guy brings to the table on the ice. His gameplay. Yes, the locker room stuff's great and everything, but we got to see this guy do something on the ice besides lose his helmet all the time.
So here's something. Since the 2017-18 season, he's played 52 games, 58, 50, 57, 80 in 22-23, and then 23-24 he played 46. So the closest that
And he's a minus every year, correct?
he is a minus every, well,
Okay.
except for 2021, 19, let me see here, 1920 and 2018-2019 seasons. He was a plus on those seasons. And 1 year with the Arizona Coyotes. Wow, 78 games. He was a +5. So that's actually pretty impressive considering how terrible they were.
He's been on bad teams his whole
Yeah,
career.
he has.
And the only reason why he played in a playoff series was because of the COVID weird play-in series
Right.
that we ended up getting in and knocking the Oilers out that one season. But
I called that too.
like I said, I don't know what he is. Is he a stay-at-home guy? Is he going to be like a Vlasic? Is he going to be? There's just, it's weird. Nothing has. It hasn't. We haven't seen what he's supposed to be, and that's my concern with him. And I'd rather see a new chapter with a new player getting that chance. So, and yeah, it's very unfair because he hasn't had a team with him, so it's hard to analyze it. But from what I've seen now, I don't even know why they're wasting time with this guy.
Okay. I think that there's a possibility that he has some value and gets moved at the deadline so that we have some younger guys that can move up. But I guess we'll hold on to that for later.
Well, let me give you my take this year about a guy at the deadline who will be the number one deadline guy, and we'll get a first round pick for him.
Okay.
If he stays healthy, it's going to be Taylor Hall. Because I think if Taylor Hall could stay healthy, put up numbers with Connor Bedard, this guy will be the number one hot commodity at the deadline. Because he's won an MVP before. He's going to be playing with two. It looks like it's going to be Taylor Hall, Connor, and Bertuzzi, which is pretty cool. You got a little bit of everything on that line.
Yeah.
You got some sandpaper. You got a sniper. You got a former MVP playmaker. Kind of do both, make good plays. And I don't think he's going to get a really big deal his next. It's a contract year. I don't think he's going to get a huge 5-year, $8 million deal because he's just been so banged up all the time.
Yeah.
But if he could stay healthy, have some solid numbers at the deadline, a team going for it, like say the Maple Leafs, we got to get there. It's our turn. Let's get there. This could be a guy that teams are going to give a first round pick for, and that'll be good for us, as we're cropping up these young guys. So that's my take. I hope it comes true because that'd be pretty sweet.
You know what I like about that line is that you've got Connor Bedard has two guys that aren't afraid to shoot the puck because if Bertuzzi has an opportunity, he'll fire it. And obviously Taylor Hall's a goal scorer, so that really gives Bedard some, because he is a really good
options.
He's a really good passer, man, and it gives him some options on dropping that puck off to somebody, setting somebody up, or firing it himself. So we will see.
I want Connor being greedy, dude. I want him to shoot. That shot is unbelievable. He's top 5 in the league. That snipe. I hope it's just, hey, dude, we know you can pass. We know you're generous. You're a very generous player, but you need to be a little bit selfish and get 40 because you can do it. That's what I'm hoping.
TD Tutty, taking it to the house. Whatever you call a touchdown, they matter more at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Ready to place your first NFL bet? Try betting on something simple, like a player to score a touchdown. Ready to do a touchdown dance for your own? Score big with DraftKings Sportsbook, the number one place to bet touchdowns. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code ShyTomahawk. That's code ShyTomahawk for new customers to get $250 in bonus bets when you bet just $5 and get 1 month of NFL Plus Premium. Only at DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 887-897-777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Blue Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball. NFL Plus premium offer available only to new and former NFL Plus subscribers. Additional NFL Plus premium terms at nfl.com/terms. Now, Matt, you had a thing here that says KD wants Reichel to be in the top 6, but he needs to earn it. Now, here's a problem right here, is that everybody for some reason thinks that Reichel has been up with the team for like 5 years and hasn't panned out.
You're right.
It's not. That's not the case. Last season was his first, his most time he's played on the Blackhawks, and he was just trying to figuring out. The team that we had was terrible. Okay, so the fact that this kid is still trying to figure out isn't something that, you know, it's almost like the kid is like running up against the clock.
He's doomed. It's pretty much KD's way of saying, kid, you're probably going to be sent down, because if you look at the roster now, and I don't mean to interrupt you,
no, you're
but
right.
You got Bedard, you got Hall, you got Bertuzzi, you got Khrushchev, and you got Teravainen. You have one spot open. So I could tell, like, the leash is very short with this kid for some reason. I don't know if it's because he was a Bowman pick or whatever, but like you said, great line. This is his 7th year as a Blackhawk. No, it ain't. I've seen a lot of this on Twitter last year, and it was very frustrating, especially these older guys that think they know everything about hockey and can't even bend down and tie skates anymore. So that's what drives me nuts. Sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead, but that's a very accurate statement on your part.
No, it's just awful, because like this kid, you know, he needs an honest opportunity, and coming up and just playing in the NHL on a dog shit team isn't what you call an honest opportunity, you know, especially for him to develop. Now, you know, that being said, I hope that he could take a step forward this year, but there's a lot of pressure on him. And to be honest with you, he shouldn't have that much pressure on him. Let's take Philipp Khrushchev, for example. How long has he been on the team, and what kind of leash has this fucking guy had?
Very long one.
Comparative to Reichel, you know, and it's nuts because for a long time, we didn't know who Khrushchev was, because he'd show up one game and be something, and then he'd show up in the other game and be something completely different for like the next 4 games. And for some reason, this guy, you know, he doesn't have he doesn't have like a timeline on him, but Reichel does. I'm gonna look up Khrushchev and see how many seasons he's been with the Hawks. I want to say 5.
I think 2020, man. It might have been the 2020 season. I remember him and Pia Studer came up together.
Yeah.
And remember, we got rid of Studer, and I'm like, we got rid of the wrong guy. And they just saw something in Khrushchev, and it took Bedard, you know, obviously to give him a boost in his numbers. But I guess he's the top 6 on this team.
I was just going to say,
I guess he's the top 6
until he started playing with Bedard. He did, you know, he was so. You know, you just didn't know what you were going to get out of him. This is going to be his 5th season with the Blackhawks. Okay. So 2021 was his first season, 54 games, then 67, 70, and 75. So he can stay, it seems like he could stay healthy. Last year he was a minus 44 and he put up career numbers last year, 18 goals, 36 assists. Those are the kind of points that he scores with Bedard. The year before, 9 goals, 16 assists. Year before that, 6 goals, 15 assists, and then 8 and 8. But somewhere around that 6-15, 9-16, like those are his numbers. They got inflated with Bedard. He got to 1836. So
let me read you this depth chart real quick.
Okay.
You tell me who deserves the final spot. So obviously Connor's our number 1 center. Taylor Hall will be our number 1 left winger. Bertuzzi probably the number 1 right winger. Second line. They're saying they want Khrushchev at center, but I think it's going to be Teuvo. So that leaves, you know, you got 1 spot left. And between all these guys, you got Reichel, Dickinson, Athanasiou, Frank Nazar. You got Donato, Patty Maroon, Nick Foligno, Craig Smith, and Joey Anderson. So Seal could be a top 6 on this team.
He should be.
Foligno could be a top 6 on this team. But where does that leave Reichel? Reichel will be sent down because they already said they don't want him in the checking line role with, Jason Dickinson, who's probably going to be that guy. I think he'll be the third line center. But I just think the poor kid is doomed before he started. That's just how it is. I just don't think they have a spot for him this year.
You know what would get him a spot is if he worked on his faceoffs all fucking summer and can get to a 48 to 50% faceoff rate. He would have a guaranteed spot at that point.
I liked his game at times. He scored an incredible goal against the LA Kings last season. It was coast to coast. And if he could find that consistency, he sees the ice so well. He's a good skater. And you put anything, you put good line mates with him, he's going to produce. And I kept hearing he played with Bedard a lot last year. Was that a fact? Because I never noticed that.
I never noticed them together.
I noticed Khrushchev and Bedard being the 1-2 guys pretty much all season.
Yeah.
I never really saw it. I didn't really get to see it develop. Maybe a couple shifts, but I mean, it's got to be a couple games. Yeah. It's got to be like a 10-game trial kind of thing.
Right.
Before, this ain't working. We got to change it. But I'd never seen that. But, I think they have to decide if he's going to be a center or a winger, because that'll determine a lot. Because Connor's got to be that center
on that first line.
Yeah, and he obviously, he's been working on stuff. He's like Sidney Crosby. This guy's going to elevate his game every season, I think. And he was working on faceoffs, getting stronger, bulking up, and I think Connor's going to come back a monster this year.
Yeah, I'm looking to see his faceoff numbers get up. Do you know if he was working out with anybody during the summer, like Crosby or McKinnon?
I think I remember seeing some video of him and Crosby. He was with Austin Matthews, I want to say, too. I think they were doing a shooting thing, a Sherwood thing. I could be wrong, but there was a couple. I know the kid was working out. They said that he definitely bulked up and looks a lot bigger, all these reporters and stuff.
Yeah, so I saw some pictures
I'm excited
of him.
for the kid. I'm excited for the kid. He's going to be a hell of a player. I can't wait.
Even last year when they showed him, it seems like it's like a little kid's body on a 20, like a little kid's head on a 25-year-old man's body.
Yeah, he's got that baby face still. Yeah. Probably, doesn't own a razor yet, but still the kid. I thought he showed a lot of courage. Going in there at 18 years old, going against men.
Yeah.
And scoring big goals, pulling off Michigans on your rival, the Blues. That was awesome.
Yeah.
And he learned. I hope he learned a lot. Listen, I can't skate in between three guys that want to take my head off anymore. I have to be smarter, and because we need him to play 82 games if we want a chance any year, whether it's this year or year 6 with him. He's got to be healthy. He's the guy. So I hope he really studied video, especially because there was a lot of times where he's like, I'm Connor Bedard. My skill alone will get me through this. Not anymore. It's not going to happen like that anymore. He's got to be smart with the puck like Kane was. Kane was so smart, he still never gets hit.
Yeah.
That's just how good he is. He makes that perft pass.
He makes guys miss.
He just turns his body and he'll kind of roll off him like grease and stuff.
Yeah.
That's just he's got to kind of play like that. And Sidney Crosby's got that ability too. He's just so good on his feet.
Yeah, he is
super smart. And and I think Connor's going to get there, man. I really do.
Connor and Crosby are about the same size too. They're both 5'11", and they're both really thick.
Sid is a monster. Yeah. Did you see his video? He was taping a stick. And he ripped the tape, and you saw his veins in his hand pop out. It's like, geez, this guy's a monster. This guy's backhand is harder than some guy's slap shot. Yeah. It's unbelievable.
They said he had. There was a test that somebody did, and it was like a squeezing. It was like measuring what you squeezed, like a
grip test?
Yeah, and it was for rehab, and they said that typically, an average man can get somewhere, I think it was 200 or something like that. And they said Sidney Crosby squeezed it, and that it went further beyond anything like it had ever gone before.
Yeah. He's not human.
Yeah. Like he's
best tipper in history, I think, dude. I watched a cool little video of him tipping pucks, backhand, redirecting. He was unbelievable. And what do you think he hits this year, Sid?
like
30 goal mark, 80 points, 100 points?
Yeah, I would say minimum 35 goals, 65 assists.
The dude's driven, man. I absolutely think he could still get a point a game. Maybe surprise everybody, get 100, which would be remarkable.
Yeah,
but he's that damn good.
Well, to be honest with you, like my prediction is like the low end. Like, say if I was placing a bet and I wanted it to hit, I'd say 35 and 65 for Sid.
That's all right.
He might hit 40, man.
He could.
Yeah, I think
they're getting older, but the dude is just I think he'll be an ageless wonder, like kind of like a Yager.
Like even Gretzky too. Gretzky was a point a game guy when he retired.
What, didn't he score like 20? And he was with the Rangers, I think.
It's
unbelievable.
I think he had 9 goals and 43 assists.
Just insane. Yeah.
He was pissed off because he's like, everyone said I could still keep playing. Yeah, even though I'm a point per game guy, but I only scored. He's like, I only scored 9 goals, and typically for me, back in the day, that was a good weekend.
Yeah, a good 2 games maybe. Yeah. Well, jumping over to Gretzky's record, do you think Ovi does it this year or early next season?
I don't know.
I think he's definitely going to do it.
I don't know.
I think he's definitely going to do it.
He's slowing down, man. Definitely. They really showed it last year that, how long it took him to get going. And this year, man, it could be the same thing where he's just...
That team's crazy, though. They made the playoffs. I know they didn't make any noise, but...
Yeah.
Making the playoffs, that was a great race.
They had a really bad first
Yeah.
half, but then they really turned it on in that second half. And but he could lose his touch a bit, man. I mean, kids are getting stronger and faster, and he's getting older.
You don't think the hot Cheetos and the Subway diet doesn't have an effect on that?
Well,
did you see his road trip?
I saw that.
His road trip meal.
Yeah, I saw that. That was funny.
Guy's a legend,
yeah,
dude.
He is, man.
You know what? You find him in the office, he's still going to bury it. I think he'd still bury it at 7 years old, too.
Yeah.
He's just a Russian machine.
Yeah, he is,
but
man.
I think he's going to do it. I don't think it's going to be this year. I think it's going to be early next year. And I hope he does it early because the Capitals need to figure out what they're going to do then. Because they're getting older. They're not going to rebuild. They're gonna do this for Ovi, which hey, the owner loves him. He got him a cup, and he's like, hey, I got to pay this kid back. He's so close. We're gonna do it, and I want him to be a Washington Capital when he does it. Which it's cool, but they're gonna pay the price.
Yeah,
they're gonna pay the
they
price.
Are already.
They're gonna have to. But it's crazy. They made the playoffs. That's the funny thing.
Yeah.
That nobody wanted to make it that year, and the Capitals like, hey, cool, we'll take it, and we'll get smoked the first round. But hey, at least we made it.
Yeah. So, what do you think about the Atlantic Division, dude? Man, it looks pretty rough, man. Like, I'd hate to be the Senators, and the Canadians. It's like no hope.
You hate to be the Sens. You hate to be the Buffalo Sabres, and you hate to be the Red Wings, because these are the 3 teams that have been pushed by the media like this is their year. This is their year. And it's been 3 years. Like, who's going to take it?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, you got to figure that the Bruins are still a good team. They're going to finish probably 1 or 2. Panthers, 1 or 2. And you got the Leafs. They're still a good season team. They're going to be probably 3, even 1, 2, or 3. So that's 1, 2, 3 right there. So you're competing for a wild card spot if you're the Wings.
Well, then you
even
got
the Lightning this year.
Yeah,
and the Lightning are a better team,
right?
So there is one spot open, one wild card spot open. And I think it's going to be the same thing. I think all 3 of those teams are probably going to fall short, even though the Red Wings got better. They got a Patty Kane that's going to play a full 82. According to a lot of the Wings stuff that I read, that goaltender Kosa, sorry if I mispronounce it, but he's supposed to be a really good goalie, and they're thinking this is the year that they're going to they're going to hit that hump and get into the playoffs and go for it. I just don't know, man. You look at the rest of these teams. I don't think there's a spot open for them.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Yeah, and especially the Senators, man. Like they were really building up. They had youth. They were trying to make a push. They got Alex DeBrincat, and then the wheels just fell off, man. It just fell off. Like progress went completely out the window. And and Brady Tkachuk is watching his brother, every summer in Florida.
Even in Calgary, he had to go and watch him in the playoffs. The poor kid hasn't had a taste of playoff hockey yet.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to be traded, dude. If this year they totally bomb out, I know they got Allmark in net, a former Vezina guy, but like I said, man, you got 4 teams in this division alone that are scary, and the one team I have them ranked 4th, and they won back-to-back Stanley Cup titles.
Yeah,
it being the Lightning. So
they're not the same squad, though.
I don't know, man. They got Getzel to replace Stamkos, another kind of point of game guy.
Right.
So, and they got healthy Vasilevsky.
And they got McDonough back too, Ryan McDonough,
which is a huge thing for Victor Hedman.
Yeah,
huge. You lost Sergachev, but you'd think, hey, this guy he's getting hurt a lot. He's not helping us when he's on the IR, so they moved him.
Yeah,
and it's ballsy. That was a ballsy trade. Because he's a good defenseman, and it's ballsy to let your captain go. Stamkos, just to let him walk after what he's done. And they said, hey, we're going to replace him with Gensel. He's younger, and we need to keep this team good. You got Kuch, who's an MVP. Braden Point, Brandon Hagel, the Swiss Army knife. The guy could do it all. They still got a really good team, man. And, hey, they can even force the Leafs to be like a wild card team.
Yeah.
But here's something that I forgot to mention to you. Jeremy Swayman is still unsigned.
Yeah, I was actually just going to bring that up to you because
good. I'm glad you did, because this is insane. The Bruins are playing with fire.
It almost makes it out like, why did they let Allmark go? Because, okay, yeah, sure, he is older, but dude, this kid Swayman's not signed. I don't know if he wants more money or more term.
He wants more. He wants the term and he wants the cash. He thinks that he feels he did his part playing the dual back to this guy starts this night, he starts another night, kind of friendly tandem.
Sure.
He wants the net. And you know what? He earned the net last year. He really did. He was good.
Yeah, he was.
I saw a video of him. He was talking about the salary going up, and he said, I'm doing my homework. I never really used to do this stuff, but I'm watching the cap go up this year. I want to make sure that I'm paid properly. And you respect that. The guy cares, and it's pretty cool. He seems like an intelligent guy. Do I think he's worth $8 million right now? I don't. I think he's closer to the 6-7 range, and I think the Bruins are obviously they got to get him as cheap as possible if they want to keep a good team together.
Yeah.
But he is a good goalie. I heard he wants close to $9 million.
Yeah, I heard 10.
You could be right. I think Biz actually stirred up a hornet's nest and got Sweeney, the GM, a little pissed off because he was kind of saying stuff that he was unsure about. And I heard Sweeney say something very, very weird. He said, we hope to get him signed by December 1st, because that's the last day you could sign an RFA. So that just tells you right there, like, oh, shit, we hit a rut and it's bad.
Yeah.
So now who's your goalie? Corpusalo. Corpusalo, a former backup goalie on the Jackets, maybe a backup goalie with a sense. I think he played a little bit more than a backup, but that he's not Swayman and he's not Allmark. So yeah, I'd be a little panicky right now if I was a Bruins fan, because you want that solid guy in net with this team, or it could change everything. Honestly, they could go from a top 1-2 team to maybe a wild card. Like, hey, we were trying like hell to get in here because we don't have our starting goalie. So hopefully they can work it out. But I have heard rumors of a bridge deal, like another 1 year, maybe 2 year deal at maybe a little bit higher term.
They're playing with fire, man. Because
But that's how you piss off a guy.
It
He's
is.
going to be like, you know
all
what?
right, fine.
You don't believe in me? Fine. I'll take the bridge deal. Or we can hope Kyle Davidson gives them an offer sheet. That would be pretty damn sweet. Just just throw a little snowball into hell and ruin the Bruins' plans, and the Hawks got a starting goalie for the next 8 years. That'd be pretty sweet. But that would be pretty cool. But I just, man, I think the Bruins are. I can't believe it's taken this long. You had all summer. That's got to be your number one priority.
Here's the thing, man.
And it's just failing.
Okay, so they give him a bridge deal. Let's say a 3-year bridge deal, okay, at $8.5 million, and he's like, okay, I'll do it. He wins a Vezina 1 year. When it comes to contract time, they're going to have to pay him $12 million because the cap is going to go up so high, and they're going to be in huge trouble. Or they give him a bridge deal, and he doesn't pan out. And then they'll just be on
geniuses.
Yeah, then they'll look like geniuses at that point. But chances are, man, and the Bruins are usually a pretty good defensive team, so he gets a lot of help. But if you have a starting caliber goalie, you need to sign that guy. You need to get him signed up, man, because they don't grow on trees.
Yeah. Goalies don't get paid like they should, I believe. I'm probably biased because I'm a goalie, but who are you going to pay $8 million or $9 million to first? Shesterkin or Swayman?
Shesterkin.
Exactly. And this is a big thing for him, too, because he is up for an extension. So, his agent is watching this situation very closely. Because if this guy Swayman, who hasn't done remotely anything close, he's going to get double that, possibly. And he could easily get it. I think the best goalie in the world is still Vasilevsky. A healthy Vasilevsky is still the best. And I think number 2, I got to go Connor Hellebuck. And then I got to go I think Bob earned his way back up. He's won a lot of Vezinas. I think so. I think he's that damn good. I like Jake Ottinger in Dallas. And I think Igor is right there too. And then they're saying Sorokin is even better, but he's just not getting the publicity being on the Islanders, and he's on a really annoying defensive team that allows him. Well, the poor kid gets outshot probably every game. He's got to stand on his head.
Can you imagine if he got some offensive support?
I think he would be like, if you traded Shesterkin for Sorokin, I think Sorokin would be like as popular as Shesterkin was. God, these Russian names! I'm like, the Russians got amazing goaltenders, so they are clearly the best breeding ground for goalies right now. And it used to be Canada, and I think Canada has fallen hard with goalies.
Big time.
In that Four Nations tournament, man, it's going to be brutal for them in net.
Yeah.
But, you can only play one goalie. So, Team Russia, who do you put in? I think you got to go Vasi. He's been in more big games and won more big games.
Yeah.
But I think Shesterkin is going to get that extra boost because he is a solid guy, and he's going to have even better guys in front of him, which it's probably going to be an all-star-like team. But, man, Russia, USA even's got some great goalies. Swayman's American. This is another thing. Is Swayman, he's got to consider, hey, I got to get a contract. I want to play in this tournament.
Right.
I wonder if he's even allowed to play, But I think Hellebuck, you got Hellebuck, what did I say? I'm sorry. Vasilevsky. Jake Ottinger's right there, another American kid. We got some really good goalies in this league, and man, it's a shame Boston can't figure this out. And maybe we don't know the whole thing. I'm sure Swayman, him and his agent are playing a little hardball because they know that cap's going to go up, and he wants to get that extra mil. I'm sure the guys are going to fight for the most they can get because their careers aren't long. So you can't fault them for that.
Not at all. I agree with the players 100%. So I'm going to say who has no hope in this division, and that's the Canadians for like the, 5th straight year.
Yeah, I'm not, they got Patrick Laine, kind of like that was their only move this year.
But they do have Kirby Dach, so.
Kirby Dach's healthy for now. So we'll see. Cole Caulfield. They got a good young core. I just don't know. You look at the division. You got no chance. You have to come out like flying, and I just don't think they're there yet. It sucks because it's like the Hawks division, the Central. It's going to be Colorado and Dallas for the next couple seasons, and then you got, the Jets are right there too. And you figure your only chances of getting in are a wild card spot, and it's brutal, man, because the Pacific's got some good teams too.
Yeah, they do.
And we got to go over the Metro next podcast.
Yeah, next week.
That's another solid division.
Yeah, it is. So over under 50 games played for Kirby Dach.
Is it a contract year?
I'd have to check.
I think he signed like a 4-year deal after we traded him.
I thought it was a 4-year deal.
I think he's going to be. I think he'll get over. I think he's going to play like 65. Okay. Bookmark it.
I'm putting under 50.
He's excited. I think they have him paired up with Laine. I've been reading about. So you got to. But this guy's falling hard too.
Yeah.
I know he's got a lot of mental health issues and stuff. I hope he figures it out because he was really cool to watch with Winnipeg, man. He was right there with Matthews. Those guys were kind of having a good little sniping race. I just don't know, man. I don't know who's in net. Who's their goaltender? I don't know who it is. Carey Price has been gone for years. It's hard to fill that gap.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Like you said, I think Buffalo, Ottawa, they have no chance. Detroit, I think, got better, but they have to play unbelievable to get in with this division. It's brutal. It's crazy because if they stayed in the Central, I think they would be like a top 3 team. But all those old guys were getting so pissed off about the travel all the time, and we got to accommodate the Red Wings because they're the premier team, during that era, and I think it killed a great rivalry the Hawks had.
Yeah, it did.
Just a stupid, boneheaded move by Bettman. Really stupid.
Imagine that the Blackhawks and Detroit could have been terrible at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think if they were in the Central this year, they would be a third spot. They'd be the third team. That's how, that's how it's working out. St. Louis is going to fall hard this year. The one team I think that's going to surprise people this year is New Jersey. I think they're healthy. They finally got that goalie. We'll talk about it next week.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to surprise a lot of people.
Yeah, I'm excited. All right, everybody, let us know what you think about the division. We're doing the Metro next year, and we'll catch you on the next one. This is the Tomahawk, and we're out of here.